That was interesting. No, Wrestlemania was fun.
Uh, hey, me Matt here. WrestleMania's in the books, and I say this every year to myself. You know, I feel like I look forward to something all year, and then it just flies by. And sometimes I'm disappointed, sometimes I get pissed off, sometimes I'm happy. I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, it wasn't a terrible show. Night one was a fuck of a lot better. But I don't know what to say, really. You know, I think there was some nitpicking, but here we go. So, we'll start off. Of course, we had John Cena versus Austin Theory. Now, this match was pretty cool. And I mean, one of the reasons that I respect John quite a bit is the fact that he does give to charity. And I mean, he came out, he had the Special Olympics kids were out in the entranceway, and he came out to greet them and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. And then you have Austin Theory coming out. And then this match was pretty good. It was kind of like you didn't know which way it was going to go, but it was obvious that Austin Theory was going to retain, you know. And I think that was a good call. I mean, look, John Cena only comes back once a year. And, I mean, I don't see him win a title ever again. That's just the way it is. And, you know, we could say, Bret Hart, you know, it is what it is, and I wasn't happy with that either. So, and two, it's almost like you have Austin Theory, who is red hot as a heel. And you know what? It was fine. I thought it was fine. You have to pass the torch at some point. I don't know if this was a passing of the torch type thing, but, you know, it is what it is. And it was still a good match. And I mean, the set was fucking beautiful, man. Like, I was like, every year, I never know what it's gonna be like, but it was outdoors, it was great.
Drinking whiskey from a plastic cup.
Now we have the men's WrestleMania Showcase match. We have the Street Profits, who defeated Braun and Ricochet, American Alpha, and the Viking Raiders. And this was pretty cool as well. I mean, there was a spot where you had the teams on the outside, one half the teams on the outside, and the other ones did their spot where they jump over the rope. And I mean, wasn't necessary. Well, I don't know. Hanson did the last one, and it was kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it sloppy or not. That wasn't sloppy. It was just okay. And I mean, it's WrestleMania, so I think if they do that once a year, you know, maybe that's special. But they seem to do it every fucking time they have a fatal 4-way take team match or whatever. So
drinking whiskey from a plastic cup.
now we have the match with Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. What kind of was interesting to me is they have a conductor come out for Seth, and I thought, okay, you're gonna have a choir. But he just turns around to the audience, faces the audience, and he's doing this, and everyone's going, oh, and stuff. And then Seth comes out. It was a pretty cool outfit as well. My brother pointed this out to me because I didn't notice it at first, because I did watch it on Saturday a little bit, but we watched it on Sunday again, and he had that pink outfit, which I dug, with a little gold, and it kind of reminded him of Jeff Jarrett in a way, which is kind of, I don't think that's what he was going for, but yeah, there it is. So this match is pretty cool, and again, you know, Logan is one of those guys that I do have a feeling that he could be in the business. Like, he is a pretty good wrestler, but obviously Seth is much better and has been in the business for a long time. But this match started out good, pretty good wrestling, if you will. And then, of course, you have the spots for the outside, and then, you know, you didn't know which way it was going to go. You have a point where you have this mascot, if you will, Logan Paul supplements, or whatever the fuck those are called. And he's dancing out to the ring, and in the middle of the match, he's on the outside trying to distract Seth. And eventually you find out that it's KSI, which is Logan Paul's friend, I guess, and he's also a rapper. But yeah, there was a point where you got Seth put on the table, and Logan gets up on the top rope, spits out water. Now KSI is holding him onto the table, and he's got like the phone there. And I didn't think this could happen, but he was holding Seth down on the table, and Seth swiftly takes him and replaces him onto the table. And then by that point, Logan's up in the air. He sees KSI on the table and just slams into him. So that was pretty funny. And then Seth hit the stomp, got the win. There's some pedigrees in there, but I mean, this was a good match. Out of all the matches that you have in the celebrity thing, it's kind of like Logan Paul has to be one of the best, in my opinion, but you know, it is what it is. Once again, I don't see him ever winning a championship in WWE, but I mean, he could still be in matches, I guess. That would be pretty cool to see him in more, but we'll find out later on in the future. But mascot, out of all the matches that you have in the celebrity thing, it's kind of like Logan Paul has to be one of the best, in my opinion, but you know, it is what it is. Once again, I don't see him ever winning a championship in WWE, but I mean, he could still be in matches, I guess. That would be pretty cool to see him in more, but we'll find out later on in the future.
Go with your trousers low, not skin like dirty snow. How did you
You have the 6-woman tag team match. Trish Stratus with the tag team champions Lita and Becky Lynch, who defeated Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. And it's almost like I said in my predictions, I wanted to see Damage Control go over. Nothing against Lita, Trish, and Becky Lynch. It's just they really had nothing to lose. But you know, it was still a really good match, and they worked well together. So, I mean, there was a point, too, where Bayley taunted Lita, and it's just kind of like, yeah, Damage Control should have won, in my opinion, but, you know, they have won a lot of matches lately, so, I don't know.
Screw your head on tight, make it last all night, my hard work.
So you have this one, I got the newly inducted WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio versus his son Dominic Mysterio. So you have Dominic coming out. You got him in a squad car, cop car, whatever, and they're taking him to the arena, and they pull up, and then they have him in shackles. Well, no, they have him in handcuffs. Then they escort him to the ring. And then, you know, he has on this spiky jacket, kind of like Chris Jericho's Painmaker. But he's got the hoodie on. He takes the hoodie off, and there's Ray's mask. So they get to the aisleway, and, you know, Dominic takes the mask off. So, you know, I kind of thought about it, and it's like, if they were going to really do the Con-Dom gimmick, then why didn't they just have the security take him out to the ring like that for SmackDown? But then again, I don't know how well that would work. So, I guess this was fine. But this match was very good too, and you didn't know if Dominic was going to win with the help of the Judgment Day, because you have eventually Finn Balor and Damian Priest show up. Now, you have Angie and Aaliyah in front row, and so you have Dominic taunting both of them, and there was the point where you have Dominic take the cup away from Aaliyah. Didn't know what he was going to do with that, but then he ended up throwing the water, whatever the fuck it was. And then, of course, the Latina Fire comes out, and she tries to hop the guardrail, but she's being held back. Just trying to get under Ray's skin, but, I mean, he definitely hit a very good high fly flow. And then he also have him attempt to do the Three Amigos, but that didn't work. Ray definitely hit a better high fly flow to get the win. But this match was very good. I really enjoyed it. And you know, I think we'll see what happens in Backlash. Because I'll get to that later. If they do happen to have another match, I think that would be pretty cool. I don't think this feud is done. I don't think this feud is done at all, because you have Finn and Damian with Dominic in the front entrance, and they're staring down Ray. Ray's with Angie and Aaliyah. Oh yeah, you also have Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza with Santos Escobar. I guess they're bringing back the LWO. But they helped Ray even the odds with the Judgment Day, so that's pretty cool. And so we'll see what happens with that, because I think bringing them back would be We had the SmackDown Women's Championship. We've got Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, and again, kind of expected a better entrance for both of them. But it was good for what it was, I guess. This match was very, very close. And I mean, you have Rhea Ripley do the Riptide and stuff like that. And Charlotte Flair tried to do the figure eight a bunch of times and failed, which is surprising. It was interesting. You know, you have Charlotte on the top rope, and she was gonna do something. I can't remember what it was. But Rhea pushed her, and her face, like, planted on the turnbuckle, so she's limp. And you think, okay, she's playing chicken. There's no way she's gonna lose this match. When Rhea Ripley hits a Super Riptide and gets the win. Charlotte Flair lost the match at WrestleMania. And I thought about this too. She was undefeated at WrestleMania. You know, it's nothing to take away from Charlotte. Yes, she's not my favorite wrestler. But the fact of the matter is that the company saw her name, and they, I figure, thought she would be pushed a lot. So a lot of, since 2016, WrestleMania 31, it just seems like she definitely, I guess, won a lot of matches since then. But last night, Saturday, the first time she lost at WrestleMania. And so the thing is that she's sitting on the mat outside and she's smiling. It's almost like someone finally beat me. I don't know what that was. But it made sense because Rhea Ripley lost the NXT Women's title to Charlotte WrestleMania 36. So, yeah, it's just kind of funny how that works. But, yeah, Rhea never had the SmackDown Women's title, so we'll see where this goes. Oh, yeah. So, of course, we had the attendance record. We have Snoop Dogg and The Miz, who was the host of WrestleMania. You actually thought Snoop was going to have a match with The Miz, but that was a tease. And Miz brought out a returning Pat McAfee. I kind of thought maybe it was going to be Matt Cardona. Now, he might show up eventually, but Pat McAfee really impressed me as a wrestler. But, yeah, this was a good match, I guess. But Pat ended up winning. But just you wait till me.
Drinking whiskey from a plastic cup.
We have the main event for night one. We've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who defeated the Usos. And there was a slight thing where I thought the Usos were going to retain. So, Kevin, this match was very cool, and Kevin hit a couple stars, You have Jay, who cornered Sami, was grabbing his beard and talking smack, and basically Sami got in his face, and it was like the teamwork, as well. You have Sami do the Holiva kick while Kevin hit the stunner. It was Sammy, he was the legal man, and he got the win. And they became new tag team champions. So on Raw, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. I want to be surprised because I am taping it, but, you know, get rid of the red and blue belts. We want new belts. I kept saying that for months. Hell, maybe a year. But it's time. Come on, it's time. But this was a good match. And I mean, there was a point where there was an outside spot. You know, where it was, I think it was Sammy that got put through a table. But, yeah, night one was good. Night one was actually very good, and I look forward to night two. So, let's see if it held up. So we began night two.
Not so much heart, you're gonna tear it apart, my Hollywood.
We got Brock Lesnar versus Amos with MVP. And yeah, you know what? This was very impressive. I mean, Amos is 7 foot, I can't remember, but towering over Lesnar, you thought there is no way that Brock was gonna F5 him, and I thought that could happen, and it did. Like, there was one point where, I mean, for most of the match, Brock was being manhandled by Amos, which I figured that was gonna happen. You know, bear hugs and just, you know, choke slams and all that shit. That was pretty cool, you know. But you have Brock attempt to do one F5 and hit for his back out. He couldn't do it, but then eventually he did do it, and he got the win. And I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. I don't think this feud's gonna be over though. There's gotta be another match at Backlash, which, by the way, is gonna be in Puerto Rico in May. So the first non-big floor pay-per-view outside the country. Well, outside North America, actually. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, you had pay-per-views in England and Scotland, or Wales, actually. So it's pretty cool to have it in a different, not just a different country, but a different continent. So now you have the women's Wrestlemania showcase, and it's got Ronda and Shayna versus Liv and Raquel versus Natalia and Shotzi versus Chelsea and Sonya. So this match was very cool. And I mean, they all showed their strengths in the match. Obviously, you have Shayna and Ronda come out, and Ronda's got the classic white gi, and we have Shayna with a red gi, but she's got red pants on too, and whatever. So this match was pretty cool. You have Natalia, who did the sharpshooter to both Chelsea and Sonya at the same time, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, she's done that before, but it basically it ended with Ronda tapping out. I think it was Natalia. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. And they deserve to win. I mean, they're an unstoppable tag team, and I think they're gonna be an unstoppable tag team, and hopefully get the women's tag team titles. That would be pretty cool, but we'll fucking see. you have the match for the Intercontinental title. You have Walter, Gunther, whatever, who had defeated Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Now, obviously, I wanted Sheamus to go over to complete his Grand Slam journey. That didn't happen. But you have three guys in the ring. You have Sheamus and Drew jaw-jacking. And it's like, well, we're going to go at it. So Sheamus did the Claymore to Gunther, getting him out of the ring. It was basically, Gunther chopping both of them. And man, was they loud. Like that stadium had perfect acoustics for that, so I guess. But, you have Sheamus give Drew those chops or whatever on the outside, and the audience counted to, I think it was 29. But it was a brutal match. I figured it was going to be. But yeah, Gunther ended up going over, retaining the title, and I think that's cool. I want to see Gunther and Sheamus go one-on-one one more time at least. Sheamus has to get the title at some point. I just don't know if or when that.
Well, hey, hey, Hollywood! Boys on it and you look so good!
You have the WWE Raw Championship. You got Bianca Belair versus Asuka. The beginning of their entrances, though, like seriously, you got Asuka with the Kabuki women's, and they have their masks, and they're coming out, and then she comes out, and it's a different kind of mask, so she takes it off there. And then you have Bianca coming out with the little girls, and they're dancing and doing tricks. There's this one 7-year-old, whatever. I don't even know how old she was, but she had her legs, like, bend her legs. I don't know what that movie's called. But anyways, she followed Bianca to the ring. And this was a fairly good match, too. I mean, you have Asuka do the miss, but she misses. And Bianca, it was another close call for this match. It really was. And I thought, okay, I don't know if they're going to have both women go over and have the respected titles. And apparently I was right. Bianca ended up going over. And it was like, okay. So we'll see what happens. Clash could be a rematch with Asuka. I don't know. We could have a returning goddess. I don't really know. We'll see. So once again, I tell you, I got Snoop and The Miz. They're again talking about the attendance record, and Snoop's got his gold belt with it's one thing to have Snoop and Ray coming out to Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, and Eddie's classic car. Yeah, that's my. So you have The Miz talking, and he's like, they're going back and forth, and Snoop Dogg says, well, you have an opponent. And then once again, I thought, oh, it's going to be Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder, because he has the rights now. But Shane McMahon. So Shane McMahon comes out, and then he gets on the mic, and of course he's winded, and he says what's up to the fans, and the match begins. Shane corners The Miz and throws a couple potatoes, and I think he was gonna do a simple kick or something, and he tripped, and he broke his ankle. It's not funny, but come on. You're 52 years old, man. I can't run around like you're 20. God. So yeah, the camera cut away to the people attending to Shane, and they escort him out of the ring. And then Snoop Dogg decided to challenge The Miz, and I gotta say, Calvin's really good in the ring. We saw him at AEW, and, well, just a little taste, but this was cool. He punched The Miz out, and he did the people's elbow, except he didn't have no armbands, so he throws his glasses out to the ring, or out of the ring, and yeah, did the people's elbow, got the win. Yeah, it was you know what, it was a good match. It was a good filler match, I should say, but honestly, you shouldn't laugh at stuff like that, but I mean, I think Shane should.
Well, hey, hey, ho!
Then you got the Hell in a Cell match, and, you know, I really, really thought that you were going to have Gangrel and Christian escort Edge. Then I have Russell Crowe, who's in that Priest Exorcism movie, or whatever, and he introduces the match, and yeah, you got Brood Edge plastered on the Titantron or whatever, and I thought, okay, we're gonna hear the Brood music, but instead we hear South of Heaven. Well, the beginning of South of Heaven. You know, Tom singing a little bit. And out comes Edge through the fire. And yeah, he's got an Edge trench coat. But he's got like the silver mask. Something similar to what Finn had in one of his matches. But, so he comes out. So it was disappointing, but I got to hear Slayer in WWE, so that was cool. They got the Demon Finn Balor coming out, and it was ridiculous, but I mean, you know, once he gets the tassels off his head, looks pretty cool. And yes, he had some purple there. And this match was fine. I mean, this was, you know, what you expect in a Hell in a Cell match. You have a point where Edge sets up a table, stands it up, but Finn somehow countered it and threw Edge and broke the table. You have ladders involved. There was a point where Edge threw a ladder at Finn, busted his nose wide open, or, well, whatever. The ref, well, a lot of them were attending to that. So, of course, you know, the cameras don't pan on what's going on, so Edge is trying to improvise. The match still continues, obviously. And there was a point where you have Edge, you know, trap Finn with kendo sticks. They have purple kendo stick, and I think a red one, a regular one, I can't remember. I think it was red. And there's two, and you put them in the, you know, one corner to another corner, trapping Finn Balor and beating his ass there. So, like, it was a fun match. It could have been, I don't know how, but it could have been better. And I feel like I wish they would have gone with Gangrel and Christian. But that was only a rumor. But man, that was... Then you have the Universal WWE title. So, you have Cody's family. Well, you have Brandy, and then you have the daughter. And oddly enough, you have Brody Hubert. And it's like, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's awesome to see that you can have AEW in a way. You know, it was pretty cool to see that. Because I'm not quite sure if he is coming back to AEW to join the Dark Order. But we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. But this match, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, is there really a point to have a Royal Rumble anymore? And I know that's stretching it. I really do. It's just, you have the women have their Royal Rumble, and the last couple of years that it has happened, they won their match. Usually. Well, WrestleMania 34 wasn't that good. But I mean, you know, for the men, it's like, how are you going to still keep him relevant? Why would you want to end the title reign now, but at the same time, Cody won the Royal Rumble? You know, it's like, well, I wanted to see that so much. And I mean, he came out the night after last year's Royal Rumble on Raw, and he said his dad never won, and he wanted to win the title for him, and for the fans, and for his family. And it was a close call. I mean, you have Cody do the Crossroads a few times. He did do the pedigree. You have a point where you've got Roman do the Dragon Sleeper to Cody. And you thought, okay, this is it. Well, Cody ended up fighting out of it. So you thought, okay, Cody's going to win. And then the Usos came out. After Solo got told to leave. So, Roman basically got the spear, got the win. Still your champion. And it was like, you know, my brother actually said, if Cody loses, it'll probably be a screwy finish. And look what happened. And just watching Simon Miller's video an hour ago, and he said, you know, what's next? You know, they want to get Roman up to, I can't remember how many numbers it is. He's been champion for damn near 3 years. So, who's left? I don't fucking know. And he's not going to beat the San Martino record. Or the Bob Backlund record. Or hell, even the Hulk Hogan record. But it just is like, okay, WrestleMania after WrestleMania now. And it's not just the Undisputed Championship. Every main event that he's been in, okay, except for the first one. So, okay, that's fine. He's always won. So, at what point are we going to pull the trigger? And yes, I know that once he loses, then there is no going back. But once again, and I said that about Edge, if you're going to bring him back, then do something with him. Because if Cody doesn't have the title, and you know what? I'm pretty sure he will at some point. this year. But Raw is coming up, or Raw is now actually, so I'll see what happens. But anyways, that was WrestleMania. It's in the books. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Anymore. So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. But I think that there's this myth out there that Jamie Keller
Gnarly.
that's why he took pleasure in cutting WCW. I don't think that's the case at all. Because if you look at some of his earlier interviews, like